Chicago, 1957. Joe Bonanno sits down with three soldiers who want to clip a rival capo. The soldiers have guns, they have the green light from their capo, they have the target's routine mapped out. But Joe says one word: wait. 24 hours later, the rival capo is found with a bullet in his skull. But it wasn't the three soldiers who pulled the trigger, because Joe made a call, one call, to a detective on the family's payroll. The detective handles it, clean, quiet, no connection to the three soldiers, no blowback on the family. And that, son, is the difference between muscle and brains. The consigliere is the invisible hand of la Cosa Nostra.
Paul Ricca, Chicago outfit, 1950s. The newspapers called him the waiter because he started washing dishes in Little Italy. But the feds knew better. Paul Ricca didn't wash dishes, he washed money. He washed reputations, he washed entire investigations. Because a consigliere doesn't just advise the boss, he protects the boss from ever needing to get his hands dirty. The first rule of being a consigliere: the boss never hears bad news, he only hears solutions.
1957. The Italian government wants Paul Ricca extradited. They've got murder warrants dating back to 1922. 35 years of unsolved hits. The feds are ready. They've got witnesses. They've got testimony. They've got a federal judge who's willing to sign the extradition order. Paul makes one call. Not to a lawyer, not to the boss, to a senator. The senator owes the outfit, a campaign contribution, a union endorsement, a problem that disappeared during election season. 48 hours later, the senator calls the attorney general, reminds him of a favor, suggests that the Italian evidence might be unreliable. 1 week later, the extradition request is denied. Insufficient evidence, procedural errors, case closed. And Paul Ricca never stepped foot in a courtroom, never spoke to a Fed, never even acknowledged the investigation existed. Because that's what a consigliere does, son. He makes problems disappear before they ever reach the throne. Anthony Fat Tony Salerno, boss of the Genovese family, 1980s, runs the Concrete Club, controls every major construction project in Manhattan. The feds watch him, photograph him, record him. They build a 100-page file proving Fat Tony is the boss. But 3 floors below Fat Tony's office, Vincent Gigante is giving the orders that Fat Tony will take credit for. Because while the feds are watching the fat man upstairs, the real boss is invisible. And that, son, is the second rule of being a consigliere. If the feds can't see you, they can't indict you. And if they can't indict you, you run the family forever.
For 30 years, Vincent Gigante walked the streets of New York in a bathrobe, talking to parking meters, muttering to himself. The feds followed him everywhere, photographed every step, built psychiatric reports proving he was insane. But every night, when the cameras stopped rolling, Vincent walked into the Triangle Social Club and became a different man. Same man, different mask, because the bathrobe wasn't insanity, son.
It was the greatest con in mafia history, and it kept Vincent out of prison for 3 decades while he ran the Genovese family into the most powerful organization in America.
Meyer Lansky, the accountant of the mob, 83 years old, interrogated by the FBI for the 47th time. They scream at him, threaten him, show him photographs, bank records, testimony from witnesses who flipped. And Meyer says nothing. No anger, no fear, no explanation, just silence. After 6 hours, the feds give up, again, for the 47th time, and Meyer walks out the same way he walked in. This is the 3rd rule of being a consigliere, son. Emotion is evidence, and evidence gets you 20 years in Leavenworth. And the feds never discovered that the old man with the cane controlled $300 million they couldn't even trace.
John Gotti, the Dapper Don, boss of the Gambino family, the most famous mobster in America. Gotti loved the spotlight, loved the cameras, loved being called the boss of bosses. But Gotti forgot the first rule. He forgot to stay invisible. And when his underboss, Sammy Gravano, flipped, Gotti had no consigliere to save him. Sammy testified for 9 days, gave the feds everything: names, dates, murders, locations. And Gotti, he sat there, exposed, no leverage, no connections to burn the evidence, no consigliere whispering solutions in his ear. June 1992, John Gotti is sentenced to life in prison without parole. The Dapper Don died in a federal prison cell 10 years later, alone, forgotten by everyone except the history books. Because he chose fame over silence, exposure over invisibility, the spotlight over the shadows. Paul Ricca retired in 1968, 70 years old, never convicted of a single crime, never spent a night in prison. He died peacefully in his sleep 4 years later, surrounded by family, with every dollar he ever made still hidden where the feds could never find it. Meyer Lansky died in 1983 at 88. The feds followed him until his last breath, never got a conviction, never recovered a single dollar. $300 million gone, vanished into accounts in Switzerland, Cuba, Las Vegas. Money that built casinos the feds could see, but connections they could never prove. The old consiglieres in Sicily had a saying that every young soldier learned before taking the oath. Il capo siede sul trono, il consigliere è il trono. The boss sits on the throne, the consigliere is the throne. Because without the consigliere, the boss is just another man with a gun and a loud mouth. But with the consigliere, the boss becomes untouchable, invisible, eternal. If you're still here, son, you've just earned your seat at the table. But sitting at the table means you're part of the family now. So prove your loyalty. Hit that subscribe button like you're taking the oath. Turn on notifications, because in this family, we don't miss a sit-down, ever. Now drop a comment and answer this. Who was the most dangerous consigliere in mafia history? Paul Ricca, Meyer Lansky, Vincent Gigante, or someone we didn't mention? And here's the real test, son. Could a true consigliere survive in today's world of surveillance cameras and wiretaps? Or did that breed of man die with omertà? Next time, we settle the oldest war in La Cosa Nostra, capo versus consigliere, muscle against brains, violence against leverage. Who really runs the family when the boss isn't looking? Until next time, honor the code, son. Omertà.